That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, I want to remind everyone that we are not going to be live streaming on Saturday night. I am very sorry. Y'all know I pretty much live stream every single night for 3 to 4 hours, as well as upload 3 to 4 videos a day for y'all. But I told my girlfriend we would do something for Halloween, and she's already kind of upset that I dedicated my entire life to this YouTube channel for y'all, and I'm making a second channel. So gonna have to take the day off. Very sorry. I will see y'all in the live stream though tonight on Friday at 9 p.m. Central, as well as Sunday morning before those games get kicked off. So no worries, guys. I just have to go out and do something for Halloween. And also, if y'all have not already, make sure you go and check out our second channel. Y'all know that this YouTube channel actually started as a Dynasty and Keeper channel that I ran for about 2 years. Then it transitioned over to just Redraft 2020. So I think that from now on, this channel is just going to be a redraft channel because that's so many of our listeners going out and only wanting redraft content. So now I'm starting a second channel that's going to be only Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you're not in a league and you've always wanted to get into a Dynasty league, this is your perfect opportunity. Make sure you go follow that second channel. Make sure you kind of have an understanding of what you're going to be doing because I'm going to be starting up a ton of leagues this offseason and y'all will be more than welcome to join. Okay, now let's get into 5 wide receivers that I think we need to be jamming into our starting lineups in week 8. And really, there are not going to be many options. I went over them. Now, there's no better player to start it off with than someone I've been telling you to start every single week this year, and this is Hollywood Brown. So guys, like I said, with Hollywood Brown, the analysis is almost the same every single week. We are looking at a wide receiver that is consistently seeing about 30% of his team's targets. On top of that, this is a wide receiver that is going and getting an incredibly high depth of target every single game. So we know that he is going to be a little bit more volatile week to week, and we know that he is not necessarily going to be able to hit that high-end wide receiver 2 or even a mid wide receiver 2 performance for us every single week. But it does not matter because that ceiling with Hollywood Brown is truly a 30-point performance, something that we want to be chasing, something that we want to make sure we're going to have in our starting lineups. And now I think the matchups where we can expect this to possibly happen will be the matchups where the Baltimore Ravens have to throw the ball with volume, and that's exactly what we are going to see against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Guys, I know a lot of people are coming out and looking at this matchup saying the Steelers have a good defense, the Ravens have a good defense, this is going to be low scoring. Personally, I'm on the completely opposite side. I think that looking at the weapons that Pittsburgh currently has with Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Eric Ebron, and James Conner, I mean, good luck slowing down this Pittsburgh team from scoring points. I think that this game actually kind of gets a little bit up-tempo. I think that this could turn into a shootout, and in that case, we're going to see those targets for Hollywood Brown rise just because he has such a high percentage of those team targets week to week, and this is a wide receiver that could drop 30 points this week. Guys, if you have him, please consider throwing him in that flex spot because if you get a 30-point performance out of your wide receiver in the flex, I mean, that's pretty much locking you up the W. Okay, now our next wide receiver, some people are going to hate me for saying this because I've labeled him as a sell-high wide receiver for 3 weeks now, is Mike Evans. But guys, say you're one of these people that don't believe in me, and they have heard me say sell Todd Gurley week over week over week over week, and they still don't want to believe it. They've heard me say the same thing with Mike Evans for 3 weeks now, and for some reason, you still have Mike Evans on your fantasy football roster. Here, I'll say that you need to be playing him this week against the New York Giants. Yes, the Giants have had a tendency with how they play defense to shut down the opposing offense's number 1 wide receiver in a week-to-week basis. Still, I don't think we have to be worried here with Mike Evans, understanding that this is a wide receiver that's going to be seeing so many targets without Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown in this offense. Y'all know the entire thesis around selling Mike Evans up until this point in 2020 has been based on the fact that he is seeing a single-digit target share in games that Chris Godwin is active. But when Chris Godwin is inactive, we are actually seeing Mike Evans be a no-brainer must-start wide receiver. I think nothing changes here. I think we need to make sure we're prioritizing putting him in our starting lineup. He could very easily be a top 5 wide receiver this week. So while I think that in general, I'm probably not going to have him on my roster before this week kicks off, because this is not a hot take. Pretty much every single person that plays fantasy football knows what I'm saying right now, and that Mike Evans should completely smash without Chris Godwin. So I'm going to use this 1 week opportunity as the last chance that you can get to sell high on Mike Evans to possibly go and sell him for a Terry McLaurin plus a small piece. Personally, I would not mind selling him straight up for Terry McLaurin, knowing that McLaurin's seeing anywhere from 25 to 30% of his team's target share each and every week. Okay, now our next wide receiver is a guy that I am projecting to be the wide receiver 1 eventually in Minnesota, Justin Jefferson. I mean, guys, I think that the hype has kind of cooled down for Justin Jefferson just a little bit because his team went into bye, as this happens generally throughout the season. Still, we have to remember when we are trying to set our lineups this week, the type of performances that Justin Jefferson was giving us each and every week before that bye week hit. I mean, guys, he was providing high-end wide receiver 1 upside for you each and every week. Not even just, say, top 5 wide receiver. No, some weeks he was going out and performing as the number 1 wide receiver overall and going up against a Green Bay Packers defense. I think that this Kirk Cousins-led Minnesota Vikings offense is actually going to have to air the ball out, just because we know Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to put up points. And if Rodgers is able to put up points, which I'm pretty sure every single person and their mom thinks, we are going to understand that the Minnesota Vikings can't stick to their game plan of giving Dalvin Cook the ball 30 times a game and expecting to win by that and great defense, because this Minnesota Vikings defense is atrocious. Now they are going out and trading away key members on the defense, understanding that they're not contenders this year. I think it only gets worse. I think Kirk Cousins does have to air the ball out, and we are going to see a massive spike week from Justin Jefferson. Okay, now our next wide receiver, someone that's an absolute no-brainer for me here, is going to be Brandon Aiyuk. And with Brandon Aiyuk, not only did we see him perform extremely well this past week against the New England Patriots, not only do we see the number 1 wide receiver in San Francisco in Deebo Samuel missing this week due to his hamstring injury, we also see Brandon Aiyuk having the best matchup you could ever dream for a wide receiver on the San Francisco 49ers offense, because very similar to Justin Jefferson going up against the Green Bay Packers and how we expect the Minnesota Vikings to be forced to air it out just to keep up with Aaron Rodgers, that's exactly what we are going to see with the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Seattle Seahawks. We know that every single week this year, the Seahawks have forced their opponents to try to keep up with them because they've been finally letting Russell Wilson off the leash, letting Russell Wilson put up points early in the game. So I don't think we see the San Francisco 49ers really able to establish the run like they generally want to do in these matchups. We understand that also the 49ers are missing multiple key running back members, so I think this just makes them skew a little bit more pass heavy. And while I'll say that we still have George Kittle as probably our second tight end this week, I still love Kittle and I am not thinking about sitting him whatsoever. We know that this Seattle Seahawks defensive personnel really calls for volume going to the outside with the wide receivers, because the only strong unit on this defensive team is actually at the linebacker position, and that's generally why we have seen more targets going to the wide receivers rather than the tight ends in matchups versus Seattle. So guys, I just think Brandon could have an absolute blow-up game. I mean, he is still a rookie, so yes, he's going to be a little bit more volatile than some other options, but he is an older rookie coming into the league a little bit more polished, and we know that Kyle Shanahan will be willing to scheme him up touches, even if he's not able to create space on his own. So I am not worried whatsoever. Please jam in Brandon Aiyuk into your starting lineups. Now, our last wide receiver, I thought that it is worth bringing him up because Jalen Reagor actually just got activated this game. It's not Jalen Reagor, though. It's actually Travis Fulgham. So y'all know I've actually been telling teams that are either 6-1 or 5-2 that look like they're going to be a lock for the fantasy football playoffs to go out and try to sell high on Travis Fulgham, understanding that Dallas Goedert, Jalen Reagor, Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, they're all eventually going to come back to this offense. And when we see Carson Wentz having that many weapons, I don't think we see the target share really remain for a wide receiver like Travis Fulgham. But this week, going up against the Dallas Cowboys, having Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert out on this offense, I think that we are going to actually see Travis Fulgham still maintain that high target share. And we know because of how bad this defense is for the Dallas Cowboys, we're actually going to see his efficiency really spike this week, at least how I'm projecting. And personally, I don't think it's the end of the world with Jalen Reagor being active. If we had more pieces in the offense active at the same time, I think we could lower down our projections. But I mean, Carson Wentz has to throw to somebody, and it's not only going to be Jalen Reagor. I think we actually see Fulgham outscore Reagor this week. Down the road, I don't know if we can say the same thing, just because Reagor has so much more pedigree, just because Reagor has a much better prospect profile. But still, here, I don't think this is a spot you can afford to hesitate. I think you have to jam in Travis Fulgham into your starting lineup. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed the video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, please make sure you go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I mean, we're almost at 20,000 subscribers. It would be awesome if we can get there before week 9. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all. And have a great week, guys.